Warning. As requested, I have been in Area 51. Ask me anything. I am writing this for my mom's boyfriend who we live with, Stephen Gorevan, who has in fact been in Area 51. He was there testing the Mars rover. He is the chairman and co-founder of Honeybee Robotics. Here is proof. 1 2 3 I'll relay all the questions and answers back and forth. How much of it did you see? How was security compared with a regular military base? Did you see anything unusual or unexpected? I saw a lot of it. It's a big place. I was driving around probably for 25 miles. I think it was from the southwest gate. Security was effective but light. In other words, there were civilians outside the gate with launch chairs and telescopes, but they didn't get anywhere near getting inside. But I had a pass. Yes. I saw a strange, it wasn't just me, two of us saw a strange aircraft flying low across the desert floor, and it went up and over these mountains that were in front of us. We figured it was a test flight of a secret aircraft. But it was weird. I've never seen anything like it. What was it shaped like? How did it move? It moved fast, subsonic speed, but it seemed quite fast because it was only about 100 or 200 feet off the ground. It was flying across flat ground. And when it came to the mountains, it just hugged the mountains and stayed 100 feet off the ground even as it was climbing the mountain. It was black and looked like an F-117A, like I said. It didn't make much noise either. At least I don't remember hearing anything. Based on what you saw of the low-flying aircraft, how many decades away would you estimate we are from hoverboard technology? This is an important and serious question. Probably pretty damn close. Except for aliens, is there anything else Area 51 is involved with? Testing. It's like a test range for the military and other government agencies. Other government agencies? Any one agency specifically? Well, certainly NASA is the one I'm sure of. JPL and those are the only ones I'm sure of. Well, and probably at least one university, but I'm sure there are more. What's one thing can you tell us about Area 51 that we don't know but should? I would say probably how truly vast it is and how remote. Despite the fact that it's in the USA, it's so remote. What is the most interesting fact you know? Let's just get straight to it. And I mean interesting as in, wow, I can't believe that that is true. That the size of the apparent disk of the moon in a solar eclipse is the same exact size as the sun. There is no reason why that should be. Is it mainly underground or above ground? I didn't see any underground facilities. It's mostly desert and I was out in the desert. Have you seen anything significant that you were not allowed to talk about? At Area 51? No. Implying elsewhere, then? Yay. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, without giving away specifics, can he answer this? Can you not talk about it because it could jeopardize national security? Or is it something the government wants to keep from the people? Probably the second one. So it would jeopardize the security of the government, as opposed to the security of the country? Or is it because our little minds are not ready for such a huge shift in understanding? Thank you for this, ask me anything. Sort of closer to the latter. I wouldn't exactly explain it that way, but they don't think it's time. Well, that certainly makes me angry. How do you feel about the decision to keep certain discoveries a secret from the public and academia? I wouldn't jump to the conclusion of discoveries. The government has a lot of skeletons in the closet from past mistakes. The ones that have come to light are enough to make people want to riot, testing of drugs on unsuspecting people. These things come up once in a while and are typically considered conspiracies until enough proof can be found. Hell, the very existence of Area 51 was once in this category. As was the CIA involvement in the overthrow of the government of Iran in the 50s. Just in recent history we have 9/11, moon landing, various assassinations, JFK, RFK, MLK, Malcolm X, probably others. The theory that FDR let Pearl Harbor get hit in order to drum up support for getting the US into World War II. This was all off the top of my head, I'm sure there are many others. Even one of these being confirmed as having government involvement beyond the official record would be world-shattering for many people. Now I used to deliver ice. Right, but my normal route included Dugway. One day they needed a bunch as they had a bunch of people out there doing tests. After entering the base I would normally drive about 5 to 10 miles to delivery areas, this day I drove maybe another 10 to 15. I approach a really strange structure, tall, circular with lights, some other weird stuff, instrumentation. Pretty large actually, but a grounded structure. Maybe a UFO could land on it? I like to dream. I roll up, with an escort, and I'm greeted by 2 tanks and a bunch of soldiers all aiming at me. Someone yells, "What the fuck is he doing here? This requires a level 5 security clearance or something of that effect." Escort says we will be quick. He says you got 5 minutes, then get the hell out. 2 pallets of ice in 5 minutes, sheesh. We are unloading and I jokingly asked the guy, "So what exactly does this thing do?" He just glared at me and said, "I don't know." Ha. I am now a grad student in aerospace engineering. And I can say this will forever be a mystery to me. Judging by the fact that you said you were neutral about the possibility of alien life, it's obviously not aliens. Intriguing that you linked the video about the Mars worm fossil, but you say that you are still involved in the Mars missions, and that there is nothing classified. So that seems to rule out a life on Mars revelation. You're involved in robotics, etc. Which leads me to believe that the revolutionary mind-bending public not ready thing you're talking about is probably in that field. I'm thinking a huge advance in AI is one good option, a sentiment or scarily, sentiment like AI has been created, and I'm not talking about Siri. Or a huge advance in scarily life like everybody will think of Terminator robotics is another. Perhaps some sort of concept involving brain-implanted microchips, perhaps enabling telepathic-like communication or something. The only other things I can think of are fuel technologies, things like fusion or some advanced solar technologies perhaps that actually do promise free or near-free energy for the planet. Whilst this would be so damn cool, and necessary in the long term, the potential for enormous social upheaval as, for example, the Middle East is deprived of much of its power and wealth, and also the overnight destruction of energy-related share prices, with related ramifications for pension funds etc. I think that could be a bet too. My final guess is simply that NASA or another agency has a manned mission, colonial mission to Mars actually approved and well underway. And that because of the essential, suicide mission nature of the project. It will have to be publicized and managed very carefully, hence the public not ready. Is it possible you could hint if one of these were right? Or at least say all are wrong if all my hypotheses are miles off? Loving this thread, thanks for taking the time. What does an Area 51 pass look like? Do they have a secret handshake too? No, our name was on a list and our NASA badges got us through. Did you get to go inside Hangar 18? No. I don't think I went inside any buildings. The crew was there for 2 weeks and I camped probably half of that time. The other half I drove into a town in Nevada and stayed there, I forget the name of it. I drove like 90 miles at like 100 miles per hour, no speed limit. NASA made you camp while working at Area 51? Yep. Does that scream? There is some seriously secret shot inside these buildings, to anyone else? Do you think that the government has made contact with aliens, but are afraid of chaos if they acknowledge it? No. It's possible, but I don't think so. What was the name of Area 51 when you went? Did they have an official name for it? You're going to be working in Area 51 or what? It may have had another name, but we all knew it was Area 51 and that's what we called it. Could you ask him? I'm in a technical field as well, calm, sigh. How do I increase my creativity so I too can found a robotics company someday? Don't take no for an answer. Persevere. Keep coming back for more. That's the secret actually. Most people give up. How do I value myself and continue to develop when I can see the infinitely better people out there better than me at what I do? Because most people, even people that you think are smarter or more creative than you, will give up. If you persevere, people will stop being your competitor and before you know it you'll be the only one left standing. What's your view on the Roswell UFO incident? Edit, grammar. I think it probably was the government, but they're not telling us the whole truth of what they were doing. How many people actually know the truth there? Is it constrained to just a handful, or is it a secret protected by thousands, the CIA, FBI, NSA, etc.? In other words, how large is the cover-up? If there is one, I would bet it has to be small, otherwise somebody would spill the beans. Why was the rover tested at Area 51? Didn't the government have their own area that was similar to other planets, such as where the Apollo crews trained in similar terrain to the lunar surface? Also, did you have to sign an NDA upon exiting the base? Because we needed a lot of room and a road and we needed no interference from the public. Yes, but the public could have gotten into some of those areas. This was more secure, and I think also it had something to do with the communication facilities. We were trying to pretend we were on Mars, so we were relaying information from a satellite to the rover, so I think Area 51 offered us the perfect kind of logistics for that test. No. Probably I signed an NDA before I went there. I don't remember, but I probably did. Were you aware of the various rumors before entering? And what were they? Were you influenced into thinking something was up, and why? If so, is it possible that simple secrecy, or influence from the rumors, contributed to this as well? Not really. I didn't know anything specific, I didn't hear anything specific. No. I mean, I was looking around, but... Do you believe in aliens? Aliens? That's a good question. I'm neutral on that. I don't know. My dad and I saw something just like this with wingtips hovering over a major street in our city. We stopped our car directly below the aircraft, got out, and looked up. Everyone else in traffic stopped too. It was hovering perfectly still, maybe 300 feet up. Didn't make a single sound. The guy behind us honked. Guess he didn't understand what we were looking at. So we got back in the car and started driving away. As we were turning into our neighborhood, I was staring at it through the back window. It went from being perfectly still to instantly taking off at full speed. Craziest thing I have ever seen. And it was certainly the only UFO encounter I have ever had. Thanks for watching till the end.